Hey guys, it's Chris Duncan here. It looks a bit dark. I might just might turn a light on. Should have got that organized. That might be a bit better. A little bit. Doesn't matter. I'm here. You're here. I'm excited. So I'm so grateful to see so many of you on here live and so many of you watching the replays and things like that. So please subscribe, share this out, get the messages out. It's so exciting for me to see the work that I do getting so much response from people. It's very, very, very cool. Over 680,000 watching our demonstration video in the last 2 months. Pretty cool. So today I want to talk about how to know the correct action to take. See, whenever you're manifesting or creating, there's always an action to take. And I want you to imagine that you're trying to find your way around a city. Let's say it's LA. And your friend gives you a map. And so you hand this map and you try to find your way around LA, and you've got this map and you're trying to find your way around, and you're getting lost. And you're getting lost as you go around. And so you ring your friend and you're like, I'm lost. Like, your friend says, you've got to have a positive attitude, right? You've got to have a positive attitude. So you go, all right, cool, I'll think positive. So you start trying to find your way around this city with this map, and you're going around, and you're being positive, you're thinking positive. And so you give up because you're getting nowhere. So you ring your friend and hey Callie, good to see you. And so you ring and say, I give up, man. I'm just not getting to where I want. And they say, don't give up. You got to work harder. It's about the hustle. So all right, cool. So you get out there and you go again. And then later that day, your friend rings you and says, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I gave you the wrong map. That wasn't a map of LA. So I'm sorry. Hey, Andrew, it was the wrong map. And so you realize that you've wasted this time following the incorrect action. And this is a very interesting thing to think about, isn't it? For me, I continually took the wrong actions because I was always persuaded. So, I never was in conscious choice of my actions. Let me give you an example. I'd be scrolling on Facebook and someone would say, you need to know how to do Instagram. And the next thing I know, I'd be buying an Instagram course. Or I would be at an event and someone says, have you read blah, blah, blah book? And I'd be like, no, I haven't. They're like, you got to read it. So I'd read it, and all of a sudden I'd get new information and be taking new actions. Or someone say, Chris, you got to have a mentor, or you got to go to this event, or you must have this. And it always felt like a yes, if this feels like to you, it always felt like, I was going along life, and then I'd get distracted. I'd go over here and over here, and I'd watch something like Gary Vaynerchuk talk about, hustle, 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 hustle. And here's what I want you to get. If you hustle in the wrong direction, you just get lost faster. There's a real interesting principle called the 80-20 principle. I don't think it's very accurate, but basically, it's attributed to Pareto. And here's the basic principle: is some things matter more than others, right? 20% of things you do give you 80% of the results, right? That's great to think about, but the numbers don't really add up. But here's what does add up: some things are more important than others. Imagine that you're cutting down a forest. And you're there and you're cutting, and it's you're there, and you think, what I'm going to do, I am just going to cut. That's what I need to do. At the end of the day, you bring the wood home that you've cut, and you look at your friend who's brought home twice as much wood. That's interesting. So the next day, you go, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to cut more wood. So you work harder. You cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. And again, he beats you. And so the third day, you think, I'm going to watch what they do. And what you notice is that your friend does half as much work as you, and the rest of the time he spends it inside his workshop, and you wonder, well, what's he doing in there? So, he again brings more in, and then so you decide to ask him, and you go, well, what are you doing? And he says, well, I spend half the time cutting and half the time, sharpening my axe, sharpening the saw. Because that is the action that's going to get him more results. Does that make sense? So how do you know which action to take in this world of you should do this, click here, do that, more of this? First, I think you've got to understand that having more information isn't always what you need. Is it true? Sometimes I see people, they say, I'm going to read a book a day. I'm going to read a book a week. Why? Why? Because that's what I was told that billionaires do. Okay, cool. It may not actually be the thing that moves the needle for them. They might do that, right? I'm sure that they all do all sorts of things every day, but it's not relative. Maybe there's just one book that you need. And so what I'm trying to say is there is actions that are going to be infinitely more potent and more successful than others. Who agrees with that statement? There is going to be actions that are going to move the needle, move you down the field more than others. And your job is to find those actions and then take them consistently. But the hard thing is to understand, well, what are those actions? Well, when we think about action, what you got to understand is everything in the universe is a spiral. Now, some people like to say, hey, it's a wave. It's not a wave. The only way to draw something that's moving in a vortex on a flat surface is to draw it as a wave. Think about it. It's the only way to draw this. So everything's moving. We're spinning around the sun, spinning around this. Every cell in our body is spinning. Everything is spinning. We're spinning. So the first thing to understand is that when you take action, you never take it straight, because there's no such thing as straight. Everything is always like this. So on a 2D, it looks like you take diagonal action. Okay, you say that's the next action, you go that way. Now, I agree, sometimes the action must be feminine, and sometimes the action must be masculine. This is a very interesting concept from the Hermetic principles, that in every creation there's gender. So a masculine principle or a masculine action might be get out there and, make calls, get in the world, network, go for it. That might be a masculine action you get. But sometimes you might get a feminine action. And the feminine action is, well, you actually just need to relax. You need to sharpen the saw. You need to nurture your relationships. You need to grow what you've already got. See, the masculine action says plant the seed. But if all you do is stick in masculine actions the whole time, plant a seed, plant a seed, plant a seed, plant a seed, nothing's had time to grow. Does this make sense? Nothing's had time to grow. But if you're just doing feminine, you're just sitting there, surrender and wait, surrender and wait, surrender, and that's not going to work either. And so there's a correct action to take. And the question is how do you know that correct action? Is it get more information? Is it to get a mentor? Is it to get out there and to go? Here's what's true. There is a correct action. Here's what's not true. That someone else has to tell you what that action is. You actually know the next action. And I'm going to prove it to you, because you have access to so much more information than you think. Okay? So here's how to do it. The first step, and we teach this in our certification and in the Magnetic Mind Masterclass. So I can see a few of you that are here that are in that course. This is the wisdom process. I think it's download 11 or 12. So the wisdom process. The first step is you step into the end result of what it is that you want. And from that perspective of having what you want, you ask yourself, what is the obvious next step? What is the obvious next step, the next thing I must do? You do not do it from this perspective. I want everyone to write this in. This is the number one question that will change your life. What would the person I'm becoming do right now? What would the person I'm becoming do right now? What would they do? So you step into that future having exactly what you want. You step into it, that different timeline. You quantumly jump into a new you, a new reality, a new experience of life. And from that perspective, you look back to where you are now and you say, what is the obvious next action? And that is the most important question. Whatever that action is. Now, as I said, it could be a feminine action. Relax, grow what you already have, nurture your relationships, look after yourself, learn. It could be a feminine action, which needs to happen. It could be, hey, you've got everything moving, just let it go. Do you know what's so funny right now? Those of you connected to the universe. This is so funny. As I'm sharing this, I'll move my camera in a sec so you guys can see this. There is a black swan that is floating down my canal. You guys have to see this. Who knows the significance of black swans? Can you guys see that? Where is it? Can you see that swan? It's right. It's hard to see on that camera. Oh, there it is. It's right where the boat is. See past the boat? Sorry, the camera's reversed. It's down that side. That is a black swan. It doesn't show up so good on the camera, but I'm sure you guys can see that black dot in the water there. Can you guys see that? Yeah, there you go. You can see it a bit better now. It'd be so cool if the swan came over here. I'll try to magnetize it to come over here. Now, why did I want to show you that? Because I think the universe is always telling me signs. Black swan's really interesting. There was a saying before I guess, before Australia was, is it coming over? People in England always had this saying, you know, it's like the impossible. A black swan is impossible. It's an impossibility. Until they came to Australia and discovered a black swan. They're only here. And so it's a sign of the impossible becoming possible. How about that? That's a sign. And then when they discovered it, everyone back in England was like, no, it's impossible. There's no such thing as a black swan, but they're possible and they're here. And it's a really cool story, those of you who want to search it. And so that's just wild. Normally they're not by themselves as well. So I've just got one black swan that's just decided to come hang with us, which is cool. So there's always an action to take, hey? And the question is what would the person I'm becoming do right now? Understanding that sometimes there's a masculine action, sometimes there's a feminine action. I'm so distracted because it's literally coming over to us. Where is it? There it is. It's like literally swimming this way towards my house. Wish you guys could see it. That's super rare. We've got lots of fish out there, dolphins out there, but we don't normally get that swan. It's strangely swimming right towards us. Anyway, it's distracting me from my content. If you get distracted by the wrong actions, you're going to create the wrong thing. If you take the action that is incorrect for you, it's worse than standing still sometimes. Does that make sense? So what you must do is you must learn how to step into your future, understand who you are, and then send information back to the person in the current reality. And you must learn how to tap into your natural instincts of intuition, because you do know the obvious next action. And sometimes the obvious next action is you need to find a mentor, or you need to read a book specifically about Facebook marketing, or you need to learn this, or you need to learn that. But there should never be a time where you're just taken off your course by someone else, you see. I see a lot of people who have, somehow they end up on some webinar, or they end up on someone's, somewhere meeting someone, and life takes them. They're not the powerful creator. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Is they get taken away by it. So the steps are simple. Step one, step into the end result of what it is that you really want. From that perspective, look back to now and ask yourself, what is the obvious action that I had to take to get from there to here? The third step is to take that action. And if there's anything that stops you to take that action, well, that's what you need to recode. And the fastest way to do that is by accessing your superconscious, which is obviously what we teach. So I hope that was a good download today. The swan has decided to hang out in the middle there. It hasn't come right over, but it'd be cool if it did. I would really appreciate you guys sharing this video out, giving it a like and leaving a comment. What that does for YouTube is it says says to YouTube's algorithm that this is a video that people like. So if you do that for me, more people are going to see my work, even if all you do is leave a comment, say thanks, give it a thumbs up or a love. It actually does help me get this message out to more people. So I super appreciate every single one of you that just take a minute to click, hit subscribe, out or whatever it is. It does help me. My goal is to get, that's right, Rebecca, love it. Do you want someone to give you a buzz? Because we can, if you want me, I can get someone to call you about it. I really want to get this message out there to as many people. They need to understand how to access their superconscious and to create what they love. The truth is today that most of us have only been conditioned to be problem solvers in reality and not true creators, not understanding that we have access to what we should be doing, and no one, no government, no teacher, no school, no book, no Facebook ad, no YouTube, no mentor, no friend, no one else should be telling you what it is that you should be doing and what you got to create. So it's very powerful work that we do here. Love you guys. Thanks for checking this out. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for your support and getting this message out to as many people as possible. My intention is to get as many people into conscious creation as possible. So your help is very, very, very well received. So I'm going to go put my hat back on, if you can see my my hat line, and I'm going to go out there and get in that water and say hi to our swan friend out there, who's showing us that nothing's impossible. You know, what we think is impossible is just something that we haven't been able to create yet. Cool. Right on, Rebecca. Love you. I'll get someone to buzz you right now. So I'm copying your name over into our team conversation. And if you've got your phone on, they'll give you a buzz. Love you all. Have an amazing day and be magnetic. Create your future that you want. Thanks, guys. Bye.